Alright, so I'm gonna just go ahead and put a disclaimer right here and right now. I split this video up into two parts. The first ranking and the second ranking. This is the first one. You guys are gonna have to wait for the second one because I haven't collected all the information. So if your units or the units that you're interested about looking at are not in this video, then just wait for the next one. And then after that, I'll bring it all together and find out which ones you guys should really go after. But this is part one, so just keep that in mind. Now that we're past that, let's go ahead and go through the side notes. You guys probably already know what they are. I'll put up on the screen. I'll just go through really quickly, alright? Unit stats are RNG based. All stats that I show are rounded up. This is opinionated. Nobody's forcing you to do anything, so go ahead and get it. It is Christmas. You can get whatever you want. If it looks cool, then get it. If you don't want it, don't get it. And it's not including relics because they don't really do anything special for right now. Now, my number one spot is gonna take a little bit of explaining for you guys to understand, but it is Todoroki. Remember, this isn't for both parts. I'm gonna combine them all together in the second part. But in this video, my number one spot is Todoroki. So you might be wondering to yourself, well, why is it Todoroki? You got Death running around. You got Aokiji riding on his bike. You got Gyacho just skating with ice, freezing everything. Well, let me go over his stats and you'll understand why. His damage is around 58,000, a DPS of 31k, SP of around 7.5 seconds, 32 range. He does have a big circle AoE. He does multi-hit. His affinity is magic, ice, and fire. His attack type is ground, and his ability is passive, freeze, and burn. And you can place 4 of them down. Now, as you heard right there at the very end, his ability is to passively freeze and burn on every attack. And if you put this into context, this is not really the best DPS, but this is good for maps like the Magic Town or maps that generally need elemental units like ice and fire to take care of enemies that have weaknesses to those types of elements. And since Todoroki has both ice and fire, he's gonna be really effective in those maps. So he could go ahead and freeze the fire units and then burn the ice units, and then boom. And even if you don't want to use it for that map, he's just a generally good unit as a support. All right, he's not that crazy in AoE and range, but overall he could just freeze as a support, and he multi-hits. So why not have Todoroki? Now for my number 2 spot, I have Evolve Aokiji. Now Aokiji is one of my favorite characters in One Piece because of how swaggy he is and just overall how chill he is, no pun intended. But his stats go 105k, a DPS of around 30,000, SP of around 14.5 seconds, range of 27, full AoE. He does multi-hit. His affinity is magic and ice. His attack type is ground. His ability is to passively freeze and stun every attack, and you can place 4 of them down. Now, I put him over as Death for right now because his damage is kind of similar. He is 100k down, but you can place 4 of him. So that's one extra person, and then as Death, which I'll talk about afterwards. His SPA may seem a little high, 14.5 seconds, but you could just slap on a Godspeed or a Nimble on that and make him a really good support. And that's why I put him in second place for this one, right? He's a really good support with that full AoE and freeze. That's just nice. That's just a nice cherry on top. Plus you got the 100k damage, so you could spread him out around the map with full AoE, hitting corners, freezing everything, and nothing won't be able to pass. Plus, if you've already seen Aokiji and people who use them in public servers, they literally have a bike that they ride on. One of the best cosmetics in the game, period. Next up for my number 3 spot, I have Evolved Esdeath. Now, Esdeath is pretty overpowered in her standards. Alright, her damage is around 230,000, 37k at 37,000 as DPS, 18.5 second SPA, 37 range, full AoE. She does multi-hit. She has magic and ice as affinity, attack type is ground, abilities to passively freeze and stun, and you can place favor down. Now the reason why I put her behind these 2 units that were in the top 1 and 2 is because of her SPA in placement. Alright, her SPA is 18.5 seconds. That is reaching Gon type levels in terms of SPA. Now you can put Godspeed or Nimble on her, but you can only place 3 of her down. She's really expensive as well, so getting that up to 230,000 damage, it may be good, but I'd rather use her in modes like Infinite or modes that will have me use her more often in the longer run because she's so expensive to place down. And since you have more cost-effective units that you can place down, like Asta, Aizen, Ichigo, Pucci, all those other units, you might as well prioritize them over her. And since she does passively freeze and stun, you could just replace that with somebody like Todoroki or Aokiji or even Gray, because it won't even matter what stun it is. As long as you have more placements and you can spread them around the map, then that's better than this in terms of support. Now, don't get me wrong, Esdeath is very overpowered because of her damage and full AoE passive freeze, but I'd rather use units over her if I already have a good damage dealer than if I have a bad support freeze unit, if you understand. understand what I'm saying. Also, her cosmetic is not really that cool. Who wants that? I'd rather have the Aokiji bike. Now, coming up in 4th place, I have your boy Gyachio. So, Gyachio, or however you pronounce his name, he's the guy like the ice skating and JoJo, which is really sick. But his damage is around 65,000, DPS of 43k, SP of 6 seconds, range of 34. His AoE is a big circle AoE. He does not multi-hit. His affinity is physical and ice. Attack type is ground. His ability is to passive freeze and stun, and you can place 4 of them down. Now, you guys can already see a pattern here. A lot of these units have passive freezes, and it makes sense because they're all basically ice units, alright? They're all ice. Now, I put this guy in 4th place because he's honestly not that special. Although his SPA is down to 6 seconds, his AoE is a little bit smaller than most other units that I rank above him. But still, if you do get him, since he's free in the Cake Hunt Battle Pass, go ahead and use him. He's a free support that freezes. And since his SPA is lower than other units like Todoroki and Aokiji, that's still very good, very reliable, very usable. Now, his damage might not be the most insane of only 65k, but still, why not have a support freeze on your team? Plus, one of the only things that does bring him down is the multi-hit. He doesn't multi-hit, it's just a huge ice spike, so he's not that crazy. And finally, for my last spot, I have my waifu. He's my waifu, Haku, alright? Haku may be a man in the series, but he's a woman in my heart, and I'd marry him instantly. Instantly, wifed, right there. But that's besides the point, alright? His damage is around 53,000, DPS of 32k, SP of around 6.5 seconds, a range of 32. He does have a big circle AoE. He does multi-hit. He has a physical attack of he has affinity of physical and ice. Attack type is ground. He has no abilities, and you can place 4 of them down. Now, the one thing that was confusing me about Haku is if he froze or not. But after, you know, researching, looking through some videos and looking at other people's gameplay when I was, you know, going through the portals, he didn't really freeze anybody. He was just shooting ice spikes. If he does freeze, then that's cool. It's all right. I'd still probably place him last, but still though, if he doesn't freeze, that makes him one of the worst, because not only does he only have a big circle AoE, which is really not that great, there's nothing really else special about Haku. Like, besides the fact that he's really cute, there's nothing else special. Now, I might be getting something wrong, like I said, but that's why I placed her at the final spot. So, my listing goes Todoroki, Aokiji, Esdeath, Gyachio, and Haku. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you want your own ranking, then definitely leave it as well. If you want to add on, leave a comment like I said, and have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you guys in part 2.